Gold bugs, silver psychos. Let's take a look at some minor stuff. So GDX weekly chart, good trend line, some good touches. So I'm gonna say, hey, good trend line, like it, right? So a lot of you've heard me say many, many times that a lot of people draw trend lines that let's just get rid of this for a second. A lot of people draw trend lines that to me are quite arbitrary, right? So, what's the rules? What are the actual rules on trend lines? Well, the rules, if you want to get really crazy about it, I'm just trying to get this perfect here. So, the rules, uh, they state you want to have three solid candle touches. One, two, three, not wicks, solid parts of the candle. Okay, what do I mean? The body, right? The body of the candle, not the wick. Body of the candle, not the wick. So here we are on the weekly, and the war drums are pounding. Oil's not going anywhere, right? All sorts of turmoil in the Middle East. Nope, nothing bullish about oil, right? Oil's just getting smacked down. So try to trade the fundamentals as much as you want, I guess. Not really the deal. Okay, so the technicals on oil, the same deal, right? So gold can often be a war type name per se. So, but really, is there any patterns here? No. Is there a possibility of an early formation of a weekly Head and Shoulders? Yeah, there could be, right? Left shoulder, head, neckline again, possible right shoulder, and possible bye bye love, right? So I don't know, okay, but I do, as an unbiased individual, because that's what technical analysis is and must be. You must be unbiased. You have to look for these possibilities early and then watch for the signs when they occur. So that's something to be watching for on the gold miners and GDX in the space in general. But what do we have now? We've had a 12 EMA and 50-day moving average rider on the weekly. So there's your ride. Loses it, whatever. It chops around in here. It's choppy as all hell, by the way. Um, you had a really good ride here. Continue to ride. Now it's acting as resistance, so we need that to get back over. So it's what we would just call an undercut. Um, Time will tell. I think time will tell within the next week or two how that looks. The best we could hope for is something like this, right? So holding this level and just regaining those EMAs, that EMA ride. So that's what I'm looking at with GDX for now. There's not much else to glean. I mean, there's a very good long-term channel that says anybody that plays these trend lines, not channel, trend lines, anybody who plays these trend lines will say, all right, well, I'm buying on these taps. It's obvious if it starts to act as resistance or it just fully breaks down from this level. I mean, a trend line tap over here on this weekly, wherever it may be, hopefully it's as close to this low as possible. Well, you got a good stop level to work off of here. So you have to see what happens when it goes if this Head and Shoulders plays out, right? So it's early to tell on that. So GDX, it's just grinding along. If you look at this 3 month chart, let's see what the 3 month looks like. If there's anything we can take out of it at all. Yeah, not much, right? So I probably shouldn't delete that, but I will. Some wickiness up top here, always indicative of some temporary tops, rejections at this level, which is a pretty key level. It's pretty obvious, right? It's key over here, a support. It's key over here is resistance. It's a big value area, right? That we're in right now. You can see it coming across the entire life of the stock since April of 2006. So early 2006, this level has been a big level. And we're kind of in that spot now, once again rejecting from it. Fake out here, right? So I have to see what happens. It's a 3 month chart. And so I want to do a quick zoom in, see what the daily looks like. Much like the uranium space and much like everything else across equities markets, um, these daily lows are set because today took out yesterday's highs, and this is almost in everything you look at. Look, if you even look at Nvidia, same deal, right? So everything you look at, it's kind of like the same situation. So we hope that these levels are good for a decent temporary bottom for the moment and a decent bounce. So the bounce is meaningless unless it gets over here. We have a little bit of a long way to go, and again, just like in the uranium space and everywhere across the equity markets, the 4-hour charts are going to be where the clues are right now because it's probably a weak hourly trend change. It is, right? Is this a true pivot? Well, it is, but it's not. So it's just up into sideways. But it is an hourly trend change. It is overtaking the hourly 12 EMA. Your first signs that something is changing slightly after a big ass capitulation move. So the 4-hour charts are the place to be. Gdxj. Let's see what the juniors are doing. Do they look any different? Not really. The weekly looks kind of the same. Does it have key levels? Gdxj is different. Absolutely different. Yeah, this is a different look. GDX is a much stronger chart, right? Well, I mean, maybe it is a bit stronger. Um, Much stronger chart. Okay, so GDX is much closer to its highs than GDXJ. It's having a better move, but that makes some sense, right? So the juniors are probably last to move. Usually the signs that whatever sector you're playing, especially in the mining sector, when the juniors start rolling, it's probably a sign that some distribution is likely. Anyway, this is GDXJ. It has a really just a range bound situation. It's probably starting to expand its range a little bit, right? So this was the range, and it's opening up. You could almost call this a megaphone, unfortunately, because they are a pain. Right, so you have kind of like this deal, and then you have kind of like that deal. So that is a megaphone, right? So megaphones are nasty, nasty creatures because it takes out stops on both ends and then reverses. So megaphones are really tough, really, really tough, difficult things to try to game. But that's what you got. You got a weekly megaphone on GDXJ. So it's not going to be a fun ride with that, right? So megaphones are tough. That's all I'm telling you. So the weekly is weaker than GDX. It makes some sense. Let's see what this quarterly chart is looking like. Yep, same deal. Some wickiness up top, right? So this is it looks toppy here. Oh, they were right. It's starting to look toppy here, right? These wicks, when you start getting wicks on any time frame, it's time to say, hey, I might be getting a reversal. So the bottom wicks start to give you reversal signs. Top wicks start to give you reversal signs. It's kind of what I would be looking at in the space here with these miners. So, the miners are not, the spot price, gold itself. Let's take a look at gold itself. Let's see what these futures give us on the weekly chart. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a very, very different look. So if I knew nothing about gold spot prices at all time highs and anything like that, I just made a comparison between the miners and the spot price. Well, hey, guess where the strength is, and guess where you're supposed to be? It's in the actual spot price. Is that futures? Is that physical? You guys, you make your own decisions on that, but there's a very distinct difference between the charts. Now, there will be those who say, well, I'm going to go with the miners as a catch-up play, and I don't even know if that's a bad idea, right? So I will sometimes make that play. The miners are giving some signs that things are happiness here, right? So you have a monthly uptrend, low, high, higher low, little double bottom EQ there, higher high. So you have a confirmed monthly uptrend here, just from this level alone. That's a positive sign, right? Weekly, the weekly though, unfortunately, has lost its uptrend. It's not in a downtrend. Okay? You have to understand what these differences are, right? So you have your uptrend. Let's just take it from here, okay? Up, low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, lower low, as opposed to this level, right? So that's where you can say, oh, we just lost the weekly uptrend. It's just a loss of the uptrend. It is not a downtrend. It's just a loss of the uptrend. So now you have to look for, to confirm this loss of the downtrend, it's probably will look something like this. Now you have your weekly low. Where does this bounce? This is a big enough drawdown that the most likely scenario is a weekly lower high compared to this level so that you get your weekly lower high. Right now, then you start to see, does it confirm? Does it take out this low? If it does, now you're in a weekly downtrend, and that will probably make um, a monthly downtrend. And again, you're going to get the look of a weekly head and shoulders formation. So we have to keep an eye out for that in the commodity space for sure. It's starting to show itself across the board. Let's just see if gold on a weekly has that look, and it does. So it's you have to be aware of these possibilities, and I don't care what any of these fundamental guys are saying. This is no good. Let me just do something here. Let me take this stupid magnet off. I don't care what any fundamental guys are saying about anything about macro, the world, all this stuff. The chart is a chart. The action is the action. There's a potential for a weekly head and shoulders. The left shoulder and the head are formed. Now we have to see what happens on the next weekly bounce. Does it reject down here to form that head and shoulders? And then we look to see, does it confirm? Where does it go? I don't know, right? But we have to keep an eye out for that. So even gold spot, it has the look. It has the potential look. And then this is probably going to turn into potential Wyckoff distribution pattern that I went over in the URA um, video on the Wyckoff distribution. Right? Nobody will acknowledge that it's a possibility, but I will because I am unbiased in my looks on charts and price action across any equity, across any sector. I don't care what the fundamentals are. The price action will say everything. Just look at oil. Oil should be screaming right now, right? Just based upon the fundamental stuff that's going on in the world in the Middle East. It's not, right? Um, it's just the way it is. This is why price action kind of helps things. But anyway, Gdxj it's lost its weekly 12 EMA. It's now going to be resistance. There's a potential of a weekly head and shoulders, and there is a weekly megaphone. It's kind of like no touchville for me personally because it's just not easy to trade. Megaphones are a pain in the butt. Uh, let's look at some silver stuff. What do I have here? Oh, I made a trade in Pan American today. Um, I guess we'll have to look at that at some point. SIL, no different look, right? Everything looks the same, and you can go across the board. I don't even need to do this anymore. It's the same deal. This isn't really more of a double top here for silver for SIL. Um, Loss of the weekly uptrend, big time because of giant deathly capitulation type drop. Um, that's it, man. Let's see. Starting to come into oversold. Could get worse. Did not take out yesterday's high, did it? Let's see. 20, 20. Let's see. What do we got here? All right. 30.59. What is this? 30.65. It did. So it set this low also. But, a little bit of a different look because it's really essentially a double top here. So, and the silver futures, let's see what silver futures are doing on the weekly. Since I did it with gold, we'll do it with silver. Uh, Silver isn't even giving a chance for, well, this is a little bit different, right? The silver weekly is just, it lost its uptrend as well. It's crazy because I've been making some bullish trades on silver in the futures, and I've been doing okay. I've been just catching all these stupid little bounces. But anyway, this is just keeps going down. Like silver is weak, 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 weak. It's still in monthly consolidation, 3 months of consolidation, coming into 12 EMA, coming into the 200-day moving average. Good spot. Like these things are in this level where all of this action is that previous resistance that has now become support across the board here. So 2630, right? 26 level. Yeah, the 26 is a pretty interesting level for silver. Doesn't mean it can't go further, but that's an interesting level. Anyway, that's SIL. Same, all equities, the entire market, regardless of the sector, looks kind of the same. SILJ did a little bit better than SIL. Performed a little bit better because it's got a little bit more follow through on yesterday's high break, the bull break on yesterday's high. So there's a good look there, but everything else looks very, very similar across the board with these ETFs. That's the miners. There's nothing overly special about them. I will go over Pan American here since we're here and we were just talking about it. What the heck is it? Come on. I'll just type it in. All right, so I took a trade today. I took an entry today because this is a pretty strong move, right? There's some follow through, taking out yesterday's high, and I am definitely I'm working against this 1795, 18 area as my stop loss area because there's no support down here, no support. Big move up. When you have a big straight up move with no consolidation, um, it doesn't get a chance to build support. And that's what you got here. So I took this trade. It's a half position. It is likely that when I get up into this area, without anything else happening, I'm going to trim because I'm going to be looking for a daily higher low at some point. This is a big enough drop to say that the likelihood is a daily lower high compared to this. All right, so but look at this here. Here's your high. There's your low. Here's your lower high, lower low. Confirmed downtrend in July on the daily. New bounce doesn't take that out, doesn't change the trend back. Now we have follow through. That's what this is. This is a daily trend change with follow through. This is the bounce that we're looking at, and I would say the 4-hour chart didn't get any consolidation yet. It did not. And I believe I did actually state in my post on it that it's still looking for an hourly higher low, and that's why I took a partial position because I am going to want to buy when it comes down here. I'm going to want to sell up in this area. I'm going to want to buy again in this area. My trading plan is set. I have my levels. I know. It's that simple. That's just technical analysis 101, and that's how you execute with it. So this is a loss of the weekly uptrend. It's a big loss, right? So there are still chances of a weekly head and shoulders, but you're really the true head and shoulders pattern. It doesn't break this neckline here. This just blasted through it. Recovered, but it blasted through it. So that's not as much on the table, but the psychology could be there that you do have, a weekly lower high compared to up here. And that's pretty much going to be the case. And I will be looking in this area right here, 2250 area. Um, if it gets up there, I'm going to be looking to sell no matter what. At least sell partial or sell a good portion. Really just that simple. I've been saying down here, I'll probably front run a little bit because I know everyone else is going to be looking over there. That's kind of how I'm playing these types of things. It's how I play the commodity space in general. It's how I play equities in general. Quick touch on the gold and silver miners. Devil is over and out.